Dunblazer, and this is Chatcast. And today I have an amazing couple, my guests, Dean and Dudley Evenson. Dean is going to be working his way into our camera shot very shortly. This is Dudley Evenson, and today we're going to, as you know, I talk about anything spirituality and relationships because I believe all of our relationships begin in our spirit. And I believe everything in life is based on how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to each other, how we relate to the planet. So today we are talking with Dean and Dudley. Tell me how many actual years have you been together?
50.
Oh, well, actually more than 50 because we met in 1968.
That's what I thought. I thought that's 50 is how long you've been married.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit more.
Yeah, so you guys have been together for a long time, and one of the things that we've seen in the pandemic is all of these people who were in relationships, and then they found their relationship just crumble because they actually had to spend time together.
Oh, no.
And so I know that there are going to be a lot of people who have questions for you, but what is the most important thing that belies any relationship issue that you like? What do you think is the most important thing in any relationship, just for starters?
I just want to say that you made a perfect introduction here because the spiritual, Dean and I feel like our spiritual relationship, our spiritual practice is really, I think, the key to the success of our relationship.
And of course, that's all based on love.
Yes.
Love is the basis.
Yes.
Well,
pretty simple. It is.
Thing. It is simple. But how do you deal with the times when, of course, love is always the foundation, but what if you don't like each other too much? Like, what do you do when you're in a place and you're not liking each other, or you're not feeling the compatibility that is there, or you're having to overcome a conflict? Well, how do you use love to get yourself through that?
Well, we may not be the perfect people to answer that question because we do like each other, and I think that's a key to, I kind of feel like it's important to almost go back to before you even begin a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That you like each other, that you have compatibility, that you enjoy doing things together, having fun together, and that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
That's something that you felt you already had. You didn't have to develop that or grow into it with each other.
Well, we were lucky because we met in our mid-20s, and Dean and I were both kind of ready. He wasn't oriented that way as much. He was just focused on his, music and his science and everything. But
right.
I'd had a lot of boyfriends, and I was like, when I finally met him, it was like, this is working. And I think what I had realized prior to meeting Dean is that people mistake conflict in a relationship for keeping it exciting. And I think maybe they're just both life. And so I had a very strong realization. I was in a relationship with somebody, and there was just this sort of edge of conflict all the time. And I realized I didn't like that. That wasn't what I was going for in a relationship. So I feel like it's really important to honor that, a relationship is a connection. You're in this world together, and you're there to support each other. So it's not about the conflict. I mean, it's not to say that you don't have disagreements. And I think that's really important, that we don't have to agree on everything. But the conflict and that sort of constant battling is not ever going to support a harmonious relationship.
Because you keep on thinking of the other person in negative terms.
Yes.
And that disrupts any kind of relationship you're trying to put together.
It does. You point out too, for me, I think is key is that you have to know what you want and be committed to yourself in it. I mean, it sounds to me like that's where both of you were at. You were committed to yourself and in your goals in life, and to your commitment to being ready for the relationship. Because I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, they're not ready for a relationship, but it seems like the right time or the right place or the person with the things that they want. So I think that that's a really important point, I think, for people to really conceptualize, is the commitment is with you first.
Well, two halves don't necessarily make a whole in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like what you want to do is bring your whole self to the relationship. So your wholeness, once you, because I think you are really pointing out something very important, is to know yourself, to know what you like in life, what is your goal, what's your dream, and then you're looking to try to find a partner in life that will share those dreams. Not exactly, because everyone is different. In fact, Dean and I are very different, but we have a common dream of life and how we want to live life. So I think, being, if you can bring two whole people together, then you are going to have a magnificent, real whole. And I think that's the key.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I really love that you dispel the idea of this illusion of two people coming together and creating one person. Because I think that a lot of, when people talk about soulmates or they talk about twin flames, there is this illusion that you need this other person to make you whole. And really what you're doing is that you are making that spiritual marriage within yourself to be whole and bring that wholeness into the relationship.
Yeah, you're on the pathway,
Mm-hmm.
and you're seeking whatever way you're seeking it, but you're looking for the more of a spiritual answer to what your life is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So if you can work it out with a partner and have that same energy going down,
Mm-hmm.
marvelous how far you can get.
Absolutely. So what is do you guys have any traditions or things that you always do?
I
That
brush my teeth every day.
good, that's important.
It is actually it's really important. He stays clean. It's nice to have a nice smelling partner.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think Dean and I have noticed in our, as we've evolved in these 50
Mm-hmm.
years together, is that we have a spiritual practice. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're not only married, we have children together, a grandchild, and we have a business that we run together. So that could create stress, but
Right.
fortunately, because we're so compatible, we
Right.
work through it and we benefit from it. But we really have always had a sort of a spiritual practice. And so there are a lot of things that we do. I mean, simply praying before a meal together, or
Okay.
blessing the food and meditating together. And of course, Dean and I, one of our favorite things we love to do is vocal toning and chanting together.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a beautiful practice because it's simple. There's no equipment. You don't need any equipment.
Right.
And you can do it anywhere.
Right.
And what it does is if you hit the same note and just stay on that note, you blend together and you become one note.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Would you be willing to show us what that looks like?
Well, sure. It's very simple, and there are varying degrees of vocal toning. But basically, you're looking at your breath, and so this isn't about being a singer, a professional singer, or anything like that. It's really simply about making a sound, and so whether it's just a humming sound or a vowel tone or something like that, it's all good. And for us, it's just like, we'll, have our evening meal and watch a movie or something. And then after, we just kind of like to relax and just kind of lean back on the couch, which we're on right now, our couch.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of close our eyes and just take a nice deep breath.
Yes. Yes, I love it.
And this is a spiritual practice, but it's simply a biological process. Breath certainly helps. But what Dean and I were when we were talking about, that we were going to be speaking to you about relationships,
Mhm.
is like one of the things that are we enjoy doing things together. So it's finding things that you enjoy doing together. And maybe I think your initial question about the people in lockdown and finding they're a little bored with each other or something, they don't have common things that they enjoy doing. They're really not, maybe they're used to running off to work and they pass in the night. It's just kind of they're barely connecting.
That doesn't mean they couldn't find something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. They did. I think a lot of people just were left in this position to need to find something, but not really have the tools to do it. One of the things I really love about the toning is that when you guys hit that note that's resonant with each other, there's that connection that you can feel. And
Yeah.
it's beyond words, it's beyond ideas, it's beyond opinions. It's beyond all of those things I think that human beings get stopped up on. So I really love that. And thank you for showing that to people, because I think that, even that, if you were in an argument, you could tone and find that common ground, that's something that's etheric, and it would create a space for each person to find a new way of thought, or a new way of compromise to meet in the middle. And I love that.
Well, and you're right, because if people are in a conflict situation, they're kind of in that sort of battle. And so,
Right.
Of course, everyone says count to 10 or whatever, that kind of thing. But what you're doing is you're giving yourself a break from the needing to prove your point or whatever it is you think,
Yes.
and the fact that we're all part of the whole same being, this universal oneness. And so it's almost like, even with conflict with with another person or a group of, it's like your your finger isn't fighting with your thumb. They're all sort of working together,
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we're trying to, just find ways that we can enjoy being together, that that we're not in battle with each other. We're not trying to be the one who's always on top, or the proving or something.
I know.
Right. Yes. I'm
The
right.
answer.
Exactly. Do both of you find that you are willing to, in a disagreement, to say, okay, then we'll just agree to disagree? Like, do both of you always go in that, or were you always able to do that? Even like in your early years when you first met, were you able to compromise easily?
I guess so. We
It-
got here.
It's funny because our business, Soundings of the Planet, used to be we had moved to the Northwest, but it was still operating in the Southwest in Tucson, and our staff would run into challenges because they might ask me a question and I would give this opinion and say, this is what I think. But they might also ask Dean and he might say something else. And then they would go, oh, they don't agree. Well, they hadn't talked to us both at the same time. And it's just that we always find a way to agree. All we have to do is kind of discuss it and figure it out. And, if
Right.
it's just a matter of timing or something like that. So I think, that our goal is agreement. It's not like we're the same exact kind of people. We're very different, but that we're not in a fight with each other. We're all rooting for the same good result. And
Right.
so I think it's just, again, it's being patient with each other and not being judgmental and not be critical,
Competitive spirituality.
competitive.
How do you, that judgment is a big deal. And, when I think of judgment, I think that judgment is a tool that we often use to help us better understand ourselves when we are in judgment of another person. But so how do you recommend others deal with their own personal judgments if they're in a position where they're not getting what they want and they want to be judgmental of their partner? How do they overcome that?
How would you recommend overcoming that?
I know, is that a showstopper?
Well,
It's The process is getting in touch with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and then getting in touch with the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same process, no matter
Right.
where you're going.
Well,
Right.
listen,
And it takes effort to do it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for the best in each of you,
Mm-hmm.
looking for the highest level of human being you can each be,
Yes.
and then joining that together, that brings that together.
Mm-hmm. That's a big deal. The choice of recognizing that your loved one, that you want to align with the best they can be.
mhm.
Aligning with them in that. That's
Well, years ago, we took a 5-day workshop with the Dalai Lama, and it was about patience. And we thought, oh, we think of him so much about compassion, but
right.
the concept of patience is a real interesting one, because when
Mhm.
we can be patient with our partner and also patient with ourselves, and
Mhm.
and just know that just because maybe at this very moment it isn't exactly the way you want it or the way you think it
Right.
should be, but to be patient and to work through it, and also to be respectful as you communicate with each other. You don't want to burn bridges and,
Right. Yes.
oh, I got my point out. I got my point, now I
Mhm.
got my thing out. But, the goal isn't just to express yourself. I
Mhm.
think the real key to communication, to good communication, is listening. So you want
Mhm.
to be able to listen to your partner and listen to yourself. What are your needs? You want to make sure that your needs are met, and then to find a way to lovingly communicate. I think that's, the key. And if you have that commitment to lovingly communicate, then
Right.
Loving yourself is very important.
Yes.
When you think about it, it's quite amazing. We've all been given these bodies to truck around in.
Mhm.
You know,
That's exactly right.
and we don't know how they work or where they come from, but we're given the gift to work with them.
Mhm.
And if we can feel that,
Yeah. What does loving yourself mean or look like? What does that look like? That's a buzzword that we all talk about, self-care and self-love. But what does that mean to you?
well, for one thing, we come into the world as innocent little babies, and then we get these parents who give us the love we need, and they keep our diapers changed and feed us and stuff. Or as we get older, they tell us how the world is, and they get us on their path, however they think it is. But
Right.
often in that process, because we're human beings and maybe we didn't learn mothering or parenting from our parents, we're just trying to figure it out. We may
Right.
not have been the best parents that we could have been, and so we might have left our children with difficult challenges about their own self-worth and self-image. So this is, I believe, a lifelong process for every single human being, is to find how to love and respect our individual selves, and also to, find out what makes us tick. What is it that, not just to fall into whatever society told you you're supposed to be, of this or of that, but to
Right.
find out what is your particular gift. So you're always looking for your ideal way of being, and your way of expressing yourself. And then as you find that, and as your partner's searching for that too, you're also kind of trying to lift each other up, and
Right.
once you recognize where your partner's headed and what they're trying to figure out in their life, because everybody's got issues, literally everybody.
Right.
I don't know anybody who doesn't have issues. You could have been raised by the best, nice parents in the world, had all the money in the world, and you'd still come out with some issues that you have to deal with. Or you
Right.
could have grown up in poverty and struggle and abuse, and you come out of it because you've got this sense of character. So I
Yes.
think there's no excuse you can't blame somebody else for how you are. You've got to take responsibility for yourself. And so you just, you spend your life studying and learning and trying to listen to the world around you, and try to learn from spiritual teachers or masters, or learn the principles. And then you just keep going. And so you're always, especially in a relationship, when you do find that partner that you're willing to commit to for a good length of time, and maybe it isn't forever,
Right.
but for now,
Right.
then you kind of go for it, and you go, yeah, I want to help. We want to help each other out, because isn't this an opportunity we have to be together and lift each other up?
And the beauty of it also is that these tools are helpful in all your relationships.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it allows you a doorway to open up interactions in areas you probably haven't thought about.
Right.
So it can help work relationships, or just, relating to other people in the community, or say, your neighbors or something. So these are basic tools,
Yes. So I'm going to read you a few of the comments. We've got a few folks with us, including some Lauren from Paris. So welcome, everybody.
We were just in Paris.
So just a few of the comments are, I've always thought of it as more of being a part of a team. A common shared vocabulary around habits and emotions is important. Love is always being able to say you're sorry. Ooh, that's a good one. What are your feelings on apologies?
Well,
saying
when it's
sorry.
What?
Saying I'm sorry. Is it something that you feel like we should do, or do you feel like we should never have to say I'm sorry? But there's another form of contrition, if you will. Do you guys?
It's part of the process.
I think it's great when you can apologize. And a lot of times, it's something I've had to learn is, people telling me some way I might have been a problem or an issue, or they might have had some, my staff, or they're telling me stuff. And, I might have initially just tried to defend myself or explain myself, but really what people want is to be heard. They want to know that they're heard. And so when you can acknowledge that you're hearing what they're saying, and you hope that you'll be able to deal with it in some way, or, you didn't intend and certainly didn't mean for it to hurt them in that way, it might have hurt them or been an inconvenience to them. But, so I think if you can apologize, it's a powerful tool.
Absolutely. Now, in all of your years together, what is the longest period of time that you have spent apart?
Probably, I went to Florida once for, because my mom had a place there, and I was able to stay there. So I think I was gone for a month or something.
Yeah,
that was probably the biggest.
It was more than a month.
Yeah, maybe 6 weeks or something. But that was, it was just a rare occasion. But typically we're together all the time, and we're kind of weird too, because we live together, we work together. We run Soundings of the Planet.
We play together.
And we play together.
Yes.
And then, we're just kind of each other's main person. So, but we're lucky that way.
If I would love if both of you have one piece of advice. If somebody had just one thing to go to get them over the hump in their relationship and in whatever conflict they're coming upon, or whatever, it doesn't have to even be conflict, but what is your most important relationship advice?
Mutual respect.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and just knowing we're all in this together, and how can we support? Yeah, how can we mutually support each other? We each have different needs at different times in our lives, and never just to not ever let the other person feel bad about themselves in any way, because that isn't going to help.
Right. It only takes you down a few pegs that you have to overcome that before you can even get to the place you started.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, it has been such a pleasure to have you guys to be able to talk with you about just, life things. You guys are so interesting and just so so articulate and peaceful in your communication. That's every time I've gotten to talk with you, it's just things just flow so easily from both of you, and it's such a pleasure to have this experience. So thank you so much for taking time with me and all of us today to talk about relationships and longevity.
Thank you, Tracy. I really, really respect all the things you're juggling in your life and, taking on. And it's just really fun to get to know you. So
Yeah,
we will look forward to more conversations, and we'll get you on our podcast.
Yeah, I will look forward to that. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So everybody, thank you so much for tuning into Chatcast today, and be good to yourself and have a magnificent weekend.
Yeah, and you can find out more about us at soundings.com.
Yes, soundings.com. In fact, I'll put that. Let me take a minute and put that in the chat, because I think the chat goes away.
We also have, I'm not sure if this is broadcasting on YouTube or Facebook or where it is, but we have a couple of wonderful YouTube channels. One is called Soundings of the Planet, and that's a beautiful channel with Dean's nature videos and our music. And then the other one is Soundings Mindful Media, and that's going to be more of our archival videos, because we started doing video in 1970. So we've been kind of in that world for a while. But we just came back from, you said somebody there was from commenting from Paris. We were in Paris in 2019, where we were really on a Monet journey, and we got to stop in Giverny and spend 5 days in the gardens. And so our new album is literally coming out. Where are we? Next May 24th, it'll be out. Monet's Garden.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
so I saw that in your newsletter. Where can people get the newsletter that you sent out today that had all that information?
Sign up on soundings.com. There's a place to sign up for the newsletter. Yeah. So
good. Good.
But
so you've got your YouTube up here and your soundings.com up here too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you all for commenting and watching, and thank you, Tracy, for your
thank you, Tracy.
really solid work you're doing. It's exciting.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Have a magnificent rest of your day.
Thank you.
You too.
You do.
We're ending exactly at 27.